The idea, like the Buttery Bros have been good for the brand. The Fittest movie just came out, and we just saw the first set of reactions to that, and Dave Castro has been happily participating in making it very clear that you are currently his favorite CrossFitter. So speaking of being good for the brand, it seems like Castro's got his eyes on you over the past week or so. What is going on, dude?
Yeah, I don't know. That's funny. I like it when Dave crawls out of his cave and starts to make his presence known again. I don't know. I think it's funny. It's funny to me because a lot of the content in that movie and the statements that I made, not that I don't agree with what I said still. I think it's easy to cut things and lose some context and things like that. But like these are statements from August, right? And like this whole thing is in August. And I mean, at the game's wrap up, I spoke to Dave and I had a good long chat with him and about the games and about the direction. And we agreed on some things, we disagreed on some things, but like had a perfectly reasonable conversation with him. And then yeah, flash forward like 6 months and all of a sudden it's like he forgot all about it. It's like I just walked into his house and made these statements right now. But you know what? At the end of the day, there's two ways to look at it. Either he's just kind of spinning this whole thing up and he's trying to push sales into film, which is great. Or he's adamantly defending his project and that's his livelihood. And I think that if he wouldn't be reacting so strongly if he didn't care. So I think if someone makes a comment and you actually really don't care, you don't give it any time of day. But if he's having some sort of a reaction, hopefully it means that something struck a little bit of a chord and he's obviously trying to build a better product all the time. So hopefully, to me, I'm trying to take that as, it means, he's trying to defend what he's doing and he's going to try to be better and try to, um, you know, make things a little bit cleaner and better and as good as he can make them in the next however long. I think that that's kind of his love language and that's how he communicates. So
I
I'm
agree with
certainly
you.
not hurt by it.
I agree with you on that. I think it is his love language. I think it's one of those situations where if you're if okay, so here's how Dave shows you that he despises you. He completely ignores your existence. That's how he shows you that he despises you. If
Right.
he's talking about you and if he's like putting you up, 2 out of the last 3 posts on his Instagram have literally been your face talking about CrossFit.
I know.
And it's a tough kind of love, I guess you could call it, but like, he is among many things kind of petty, kind of kind of like touchy about criticism to the CrossFit Games, but he also is, like you said, he's always trying to improve his product, and he is, even if I think he's defending the programming, like you specifically bring up Mary and then you talk about like the cuts or whatever, or like the end result of the games or whatever, but he might defend this right now, but like in 3 years at the cross, like, 3 years from now, they're going to do an event and he's going to say something like, oh, this is one of the reasons why we don't do workouts like Mary at the CrossFit Games anymore, because it just selects for the wrong type of athlete and doesn't have the type of test that we're looking for. And that's exactly what happened with this year's documentary, which you've seen, which you're in. He talks about, oh, I can understand the criticism for the lanes in like 2014 or 2015 at the CrossFit Games during the sled push. And back then, when anybody was bringing up the idea that the lanes were different, he was like, what are you talking about? The lanes are absolutely all the same. There's no differences here at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the way the competition is now, it complicates things a lot. Cause say something like Mary is not a bad test, but it needs to be part of a complete test. So when you're going to have a lot of cuts like that, it's tough. It's super tough. It skews everything like crazy. So it makes it this really crazy, delicate thing. And I don't think there's a perfect way to do it, frankly. I don't know it. I don't think there is a way. So, and I mean, this is the thing, is I think the way he framed it is like that I was bashing benchmark workouts. And it's like, look, there are a lot of benchmark workouts that lose their potency as a test for elite level athletes at our level now. And there is a difference between a good workout and a good test. There absolutely is. And so to say, and I didn't even say it was a bad test, I said it was a silly test, which to me, at that point of the competition, going into our first event in the Coliseum, it just seemed like a anticlimax. Like you would expect something a little more exciting with some epic finishes in the Coliseum. We're finally bringing it back in the Coliseum. We've whittled it down to 30, like it's Coliseum time. And instead we did a 20-minute AMRAP where nobody even paid attention until the last like 90 seconds. So like to me, that's why I thought it was silly. And so, you know, is it a bad workout? Absolutely not. Is it a bad test? In some contexts, yes. But in a lot of contexts, it's a great test, and it is for sure a great workout. But that's just, those are the things that you're juggling that I think sometimes people don't see. And so like when I make a statement like that, I'm not saying it's a bad workout, but there's a difference between a workout and a test, and specifically a test in the framework of this whole competition. And even at the games last year, if you look at all of the whole of the test, it fits in pretty well. But the problem is that not everybody did everything, right?
Right.
So when you do something like Mary, which is specifically body weight and whatever, and then if you follow it up with that 1RM clean, all of a sudden those two have, it's wash, right?
Right.
So, and the people who are good at both, great, move on. But the reality of just not giving everybody that opportunity, that's where it gets complicated. And like, this is months and months ago. Like, I don't care. I'm not crying over spilt milk.
Right.
But
Hey,
like,
guess what? You know, the guy who apparently doesn't know much about CrossFit won the CrossFit Games Open.
Yeah, we'll see. I might be waking up tomorrow with a couple of major penalties.
That's how you know he really loves you.
Like, I mean, I know my CrossFit well enough. I've been doing well. I mean, my competition pedigree is reasonably good. It's not that I don't know what I'm talking about. I certainly look at things a certain way that maybe is not the same way that he does, or not the same way that, you know, the traditional CrossFit umbrella is sort of, or the framework is made. And I get that. But like everything that I've learned and acquired is through a wealth of competition experience. And, you know, that sort of has programmed me to think a certain way.
Sure.
So when I analyze competitions or things, I do it a certain way. And I think that I get what he does with theatrics and building a storyline and building a competition framework. So when I said something like how I thought Mary was silly, like that's where I was kind of coming from, is I'm like, that seemed odd and out of place based on that buildup. But anyway, like it was fine and it did its job.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you're looking at the workouts and, you know, you're trying to figure out cuts, and you might have to do cuts after, you know, even after single workouts. Like the first workout is a great example of a workout that you can cut the field to, because it tests such a wide variety of capacities, and it's such a great example of like a classic CrossFit workout turned up to 11. But once you start getting into stuff that's like really single modality, you know, like the run, okay, I think there's an argument there that you can do a long run and have a cut afterwards, especially since they added weights to that. Like that's a super CrossFit-y thing. But then you start doing cuts after like very, very like single-ish type things, like who's got the best sled work, or in this case, like who had a better lane on the sleds, which I think, by the way, I came up with an example, a potential explanation as to why there could be variations in the sleds. So one of the biggest things that we saw, and I think someone did the math on this and showed that, hey, there were 3 lanes or whatever that were significantly faster than the other lanes. It is artificial turf. It is uniform. However, the previous day, everyone did event 1. And I think you might be able to go back and correlate the athletes, the lanes that had the most snatches done on them versus the other lanes, to see which ones were like the most pockmarked. Because, you know, the only thing that would affect the uniformity of the lanes is if something was like digging into them, and what digs into artificial turf more than dropping 180 pounds or 130 pounds on it 100 times, right? So that would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, there was talk about the fan spraying water. There was the tape marks that were getting scooped up and putting like glue basically on the bottom of the sleds. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that could, but I don't know. And I'm not really interested, frankly, in speculating this far out. Like, it doesn't matter. It's water under the bridge now. But yeah, like anyway, point being, it's tough. Like the testing process is super, super challenging. And so there's a lot of things that come into play. And so it's just funny, you make an offhanded comment and then bites me in the ass
Well,
6 months later.
I don't know, man. You got offered a free level 1 cert, and Lucas Esslinger's in the comments here. He says that he thinks that you'd win the games if you only had your L1. So
if I wouldn't have got cut, that's for sure.
Maybe that's the zhuzh. Maybe that's what's missing from the secret sauce.
Yeah. Although I will say I appreciate the invite, but I probably won't be showing up to an L1 anytime soon.
Dude, you were missing out on a lot of medicine ball cleans and sumo deadlift pulls.
Yeah, and it's not to slight the L1. I will say that I think the L1 seminar is a great source of information that's built in a way that, any person can consume the information and understand it. So it's kind of a health seminar for the layman where anybody from any background can come in and learn a lot, then apply it in their daily life. I'm just not that guy. Like, I have 8 years of post-secondary education in like human kinematics, health sciences, things like that. They basically are teaching the basics of. So I just I don't think I would stand to learn a lot more. Not about those things, maybe about coaching or things like that, but that's just not something I'm super interested in. So it's just it's not, if I was going to go do a weekend seminar, I would go do it in, I'd take some more ART courses, some things that I could actually use in my chiropractic practice to advance my standing there. So it's just it's not high on my priority list.
I think you'd be able to set the record for the lunchtime workout, which might be worth it. You might be worth getting out there
right now though.
Oh, has Matt done it? Does Matt have his L1, or was he just there for lunchtime workout?
I don't know. He might have just came for the lunchtime workout just to crush everybody.
Yeah, it sounds like one of those situations where he and T are just working out in the corner at Mayhem all day long during the lectures or whatever. Anyway, I mean, I wanted to start off with that because that was very funny. That has entertained my Instagram.
Yeah,
feed
the internet has been ablaze.
Yeah.
And, anyways, like I said, I understand it, and to me, I get I feel like it's him defending his work, and I get that, and I don't want to slight it. Is there always room for improvement in one's work? Sure. And I think that's sort of where I'm coming from. And I'm sure that I could have phrased it more eloquently at the time. But reality is that when you're in an impassioned moment, like right being cut of the games, that's the way things come out sometimes. And I'm sure that I could have phrased things better. But anyway, I just think it's quite funny. I know I saw the documentary right before Wadapalooza, and that's how I left feeling, is I was like, woof, I could have made myself look a little better.
Yeah. I feel like you guys got interviewed, directly off the floor after being cut, basically. Like you and Fikowski in particular, I think have this. You guys seem to be the representatives of all the athletes that might disagree with what's going on in the game.
And and that's the thing is I'll wear that. I guess I don't mind it, and I mean it was the storyline, right? That was a massive storyline from last year's games. So I don't mind being the spokesperson for that. I do wish I had done it a little bit nicer, but that's the way it is. I mean, we're all super competitive, and nobody likes when that happens, but it's sports. And I mean, frankly, look at Brent and I both right now. We've snapped back fairly well in this season so far, and so we're fine. We're doing okay. And that's sort of where I think we feel like it wasn't we didn't represent ourselves as well as we would have liked, right? We didn't perform to a level that we were proud of. Whereas now, and we've been able to show that look, I'm capable of this, and we're still fine, right? But so that's part of the frustration, right? Is you feel like you didn't get a chance to show what you were capable of. And then, so anyways, this is all old hat at this point, right?
Yeah,
we're months down the line. I don't need to rehash all that. But
it
is fascinating to me that I'm having the opportunity to relive all of this.
Yes,
thanks to Dave. So
yeah, folks, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see even more clippy goodness, hit one of the links on the screen right now. And if you want to see the video that clip just originated from, link is in the description below. Hope you guys check some more stuff out while you're here. Enjoy. I will see you very, very soon. Take care.